Hey, what's everyone? So today I'm going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom Tricranius. So before we take a look at them, let's take a look at the packaging. So here is the packaging, and I think it looks really cool. Nice maximal symbol there, some trees and plants and greenery and stuff. On the top we have some animal there, maybe a monkey or something. We have Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy there again. On the side there's a continuation of the maximal symbol and more plants and stuff. On the back, some plants, some vines and greenery and stuff. Looks pretty good. But in the inside part of the packaging we have really nice artwork. So it does say Tricranius Beast Power. It is War for Cybertron K39. I typically, it's been known by different names. People will call it Blast Effect Collection Pack, as it comes with like 18 Blast Effect pieces, so you can really call it different things. But if you flip it open, we have some really amazing artwork there. We have a volcano, we have some explosions, we have Tricranius there, but in my opinion, he really looks like Ractonite. Just in my opinion, it doesn't really look like Tricranius that much, in my opinion, but there they are together. It could just be me. Some really cool lasers, the really nice artwork, looks amazing. So that is pretty much it for the packaging, so let's just move the packaging out of the way and off to the side. So let's take a look at Tricranius. Here he is. Let me just lower the camera so you can see him better. There he is. So let's take a look at the details. We're going to start at the top. So for this arm, we have a lot of nice, really cool bony detailing there, a lot of spikes. We have some black for the major part of the shoulder and arm. We do have some red there, and some, this is some bone detailing, which really will come into play a lot for the dinosaur mode, of course. We have a nice spike there. It's made out of kind of a pliable, rubbery plastic. A lot of detailing there. Looks pretty good. For the head, there is some yellow for the eyes, some black for the face, and there is some orange for the main helmet section. There is a really small maximal symbol there. I think you can probably see it's only on this side, not on the other. I think that looks pretty good. And for the back of the head, there is a screw and a peg, which will come into the peg will come into play later. Some black there on the back. Nice spinal detailing there, looks pretty good. Some red for the back, some black pegs there, some more black in the back, looks pretty good. For the other shoulder, we do have the Dinosaur Head, which can either face this way, of course, the typical way you're seeing it, or it can face down. I'm going to keep them differently. For Ractonite, I have it facing down. For Tricranius, as you see here, I'm going to have it facing up, just to kind of, see a different, a change between them two, just to show the options. You can have it face down if you want to, just really up for your own personal preference. But looks pretty good. Some horns there. Some orange for the eye of the dinosaur. We do have some black for the lower jaw, which does look pretty cool. Of course, you can open it, but that's really for later in the ether mode. We do have some black and some red there and a peg. Looks pretty good. And very cool. For the main chest section, we have some nice ribcage detailing, a lot of black, which does look pretty good. And between the ridges of black, which looks pretty good, there is some nice red and orange and yellow, which looks really good how it's like leveled and layered. We do have some black and some orange there, some more red for the crotch, some black for the hips. For the legs, we do have a mixture of red and black, really molten lava-like, looks really good. So that's pretty much it for detail-wise, so let's get a comparison. So let's move him off to the side, out of the way, so we can bring out Ractonite. So apologies if Ractonite is, like, completely invisible. I do have a white background with a pretty much completely white and gray figure, but hopefully you can see it well. So as you can see, they are quite similar. The only sculpting change is the Dinosaur Head, which we will show better in comparison in just a second, but other than that, it's pretty much the same. The spike is the same, the head sculpt is pretty much the same, just really a different deco. But overall, looks really cool. We have a side view. Of course, these other arms are pretty similar, really just the Dino Head, which I will show in just a second. But the spike's the same, just different colors. Feet, same. Here's the back. Looks pretty good. But of course, one is a Predacon, one is a Maximal, so they are on different sides. But of course, it's, you can be creative. You could say that one's on the Maximal team too if you wanted to. But very cool. So let's take a look at the Dino Head. So I'm just going to take this one off of Tricranius so you can better see how they are different and similar. So as you can see, this one has some holes there. The spikes are on the top and not where these are pointing out more. But the nose spike is pretty similar. The color is different, of course, but overall, sculpting-wise, it is quite similar. Just really the holes and where the position spikes are. So, there you go. Let me know in the comments which one you like more, Rhyptonite or Tricranius. I think overall, the deco-wise, I like Tricranius more. Just the colors look so cool. But on the joint level, I do think he should have tighter joints. I think Rhyptonite did better in that section. I think the joints are tighter and sturdier, which some people don't care about. Personally, it matters to me, but of course, again, that's just my personal preference. But very cool. So that's pretty much it for comparisons. Feature-wise, really, they are the same. You can still do the helmet gimmick, which is pretty cool. I really like it with this one because you can see the eyes. If you have it in hand, you could probably see them better. I think maybe on camera you could hopefully still see it, but in hand you can still see the yellow eyes peeking through there, which is pretty cool. Which is something you cannot do with this one because it is a solid piece of plastic and not a clear one like Tricranius. As you can see, the eyes are completely covered up, which, you know, it's a little bit different. You know, a more completely covered mask and a more see-through mask for Tricranius, which is pretty cool. So let's move Rhyptonite off to the side, and let's take a look at the 18 or 19 blaster pieces. I can't remember, but I'm gonna kind of slowly do them because some of them you get 2, some of them you only get 1 of. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna lower the camera so you can see them a little bit better. Let me see right there. Okay, so first off we have 2 of these, which came with Jetfire, just a different color. There's a lot of them that came with the Mega Supreme and Jetfire, just a different color. Jetfire, of course, his were red. These are just blue. Also, these will also come with Victory Saber HasLab. His will be green instead, which is pretty cool. Also, you will, of course, get them with Shatterglass Jetfire, but that's pretty far away. His will be purple. So you got 2 of those. Let's see, you got 2 of these long ones, which also came with Jetfire. One of them is bent, but I can easily just bend that back. There we go. Looks pretty cool. Then we have 2 of these, which were also part of the Jetfire set of 6. There we go. And let's get more into some that came with Omega Supreme. So, Omega Supreme actually did come with 3 of these, if you can see in my hand. Kind of hard to hold them all at 3 at the same time, but so there you go. There are those 3, all exactly identical. But it is nice to have several of one, so you can use them in several different ways. We do have 2 of these. These did not come with the Mega Supreme. They came with a Battlemaster in Earthrise. It was Sound Barrier. It was in the first wave. So, there you go. Very small, but cool. Nice to have, you know, different sizes. We do have this one. This one did come with a Mega Supreme. Mega Supreme's blaster figure pieces were red, but they were really a mixture of red, black, and more of a molten look, which actually kind of looked like Tricranius, which is pretty cool. It's really just a cleaner version of those. We do have these next 3 also came with a Mega Supreme. Just, of course, the deco, the color is different. So there you go. And we have another one. Looks pretty cool. And we have this really big one, which also was really the base of the stack. I will show you how you can stack them together, how you did it with Jetfire and Mega Supreme. But of course, you can really mix and match all these. You could put some red with the blue ones if you wanted to, and really do anything you want. So we have 2 left, which are that came also with Battlemasters in Siege. This one came, I think, with Aimless, if I'm pretty sure. It was in Siege, it was a Battlemaster. This one's actually pretty cool because you can separate it if you want to. So you can use this in a different way, or you can connect them together. Most likely I will store this together just so I don't have another piece to look out for, you know. But with Aimless, it was orange, or kind of a yellow mixture. This one's blue. So there you go. This next one came with Caliburst, the sparkless one and the typical one. I'm pretty sure both of those were purple. And with this one, you can take them apart if you want to. They were shipped that way when I first got this and I opened it. They came apart just because I think they didn't want to ship it together and it be bent or broken or anything like that, which is smart. So you can just peg it right in there, and I think it stays pretty well. Not the most secure, it's not glued in place or anything, but, you know, it's not popping off or anything. and you just use that little port there, and you can peg it into place in any weapon. So there are all the blaster pieces. That is a lot of them. So let's show a few ways you can stack them together. I'm just going to show you how you did it with the Mega Supreme and Jetfire. So typically with Jetfire, you would just get these here, and you could just get this one, and you can make 2 of these stacks like that. So there you go. And for a Mega Supreme, you would get this big one here, you would get this one, and then this long one, and then you could get this one of these little ones here, and you can make this really big, huge explosion, which I think really worked for a Mega Supreme, because he has those giant, really big claw cannon arms, which are really cool to use for this kind of explosion. And the rest of these you can mix and match and do whatever you want. So that's really it for all the blaster pieces. So let's get into articulation. I do want to say before I do articulation, I do apologize if it's not the best view the entire time, because his joints are a little bit loose, so I might, accidentally pop something off. Of course, you can't just peg it right back on, but... And also, there is a lot of different joints of articulation, so I might miss some. But let's start at the legs. So the legs, I'm just going to kind of break them into pieces, because I think it might be a little bit easier that way. But of course, there is a swivel at the peg. There is splits like that. You can rotate it all the way around. There is a knee bend like that. There is an ankle pivot back and forth. You can kick forward and up. Also, you can kick back. Also, there is a swivel right there. And that's pretty much it for the legs. So let's go to the head. The head can rotate all the way around. It can look down and up. For the arm, I'm just going to kind of go by pieces, just because I think it will be easier to show you. Hopefully you like this. I will typically only really do this with fossilizers. With this spike, it can rotate all the way around. You can take it off. For the peg, it can go in, it can go out. It can swivel right there at that peg. There is a hinge right there, up and back. Another hinge here, which is pretty good. There is also another hinge here, so it can unravel, which is pretty good. There is also another hinge there, which can hinge like that. So that's pretty much it for that arm. So let's just peg that back on into place, like that. We can get this spike, peg it back on into place. Let's do this other one. So this other one, of course, it is kind of limited by articulation because of the head, but there is a peg here, so you can hinge that down and up. It can collapse into there, but that's really mostly for the alt mode. There is a hinge there. There is a swivel. There is a bend. And there is also this peg here that can move in and out. So I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it for all of articulation. I could have missed some. Apologies if I do. There is just a lot of individual joints, especially on a fossilizer. That's typical because it breaks into a ton of different pieces. So let's get into transformations. So I'm just going to completely take them apart and transform them. So you're just going to separate these pieces here, just like that. You can take this spike off, and then you can take the arm off, just like that. So there we go. This piece will be like that. And then you can get this leg. You will put that peg up, just like that. So now we can get this other arm. You can get this arm off. And you will bring this peg, you will collapse it into the underjaw so it is hidden. And you will use this peg to peg into place for the body. You will do the same thing for this other arm. You can just bring that peg up so that it is complete. For the rest of this, you can unpeg that. These you can really stay the same way. You will, you can put these legs into certain positions, whenever you want to have it in a more dynamic pose. So now what you're going to want to do is you can get this main body section. You can peg that into this back section here, and then you will get this waist section. There is a port, and there is a peg, and that will just peg right into place, just like that. So there we go. And again, you can have them more chicken-legged if you want to, like that, or more straight to give it some height. So there you go. Then you can get this big spike as a tail, which is pretty cool. And then you can get the head that will just peg right into place. and then you can get these legs. I prefer to have all these little ports and stuff facing in and have the more clean look on the outside like that. But of course, you can do it either way, it does not matter. And let's have it more positioned dynamically with the kind of chicken bent leg look. But here he is in his beast mode, and I think that looks so cool. Let's take a look at the details. So detail-wise for Tricranius, we can just bring him in for a closer look. We have a lot of black, orange, and red. For the head, looks really cool. Orange for the eyes, and black for the bottom jaw. We do have some teeth detailing, which does look pretty cool. We do have some horns there, mostly orange and yellow mixture. We do have a lot of clear plastic for the little crest section, you could say, or I don't really know what you call that, the big bone back section of the skull. That looks really cool. You can take this off, but that's really for one of the modular kind of separated forms later. Some nice ribcage detailing there and spinal detailing, which does look pretty good. And that layering detailing that I showed you earlier. Some red for the feet, black for the little hinges there. A lot of bone detailing, which does look pretty good. Some black there, some red, some pegs here and there, but you know, it's a fossilizer, so you're gonna see it. Some more orange and yellow for the spike, some black there for part of the tail, and you can see the belly, which is details that we seen earlier. And that's pretty much it for details. So let's get a comparison. Here he is with his mold mate, Ractonite. Let me just level them out there. So there they are together, and I think that looks really cool to see them together. Apologies if he, again, kind of disappears into the background, because he is a mostly white and gray figure. But of course, this looks really cool. Again, the only change is really the Dino Head, but not even that big of a change. And I think that looks really cool to have them next to each other. I've actually gotten all the fossilizers so far. I'm hoping they continue this kind of concept in Legacy. I'd really like that. They're amazing figures. So there you go. I think that's really cool. So let's get into articulation for Tricranius in his beast mode. Let me just move Ractonite off to the side. So, articulation for Tricranius. This mouth can open pretty much that far. It can swivel all the way around. There is a hinge there. There is a hinge all the way back. The feet can kick all the way forward, all the way back. They can swivel. And for the back legs, there is a tilt again, just from earlier. In and out. They can hinge back. They can hinge forward. It is severely, is limited because of this little waist section or belly section of the beast. It can hinge out and in, and it can bend to the normal leg for the robot mode. This can swivel. It can hinge in and like that. There is a hinge here, but that's typically really for the robot mode. I do wish this was a little bit tighter. As you can see, it is a little floppy. But overall, that's pretty much it for the articulation. It is really all the same joints that I showed you earlier in the robot mode. So let's get into the modular or separated form. I'm going to be putting it on Huffer because I don't have pipes or any other ones that it shows in the instructions. I'm pretty sure in the instructions for Tricranius it shows you putting it on pipes, but of course not many people have that yet. So let's just separate them a bunch. You can just rip off his head, rip off his tail, take this little back section, take that off, and then you can straighten out the legs. You can unpeg it from this section there, and what you're going to want to do for this section is just bring that in, and this will remain really the main shoulder piece from earlier. And then what you can do is take these pieces off, like that, and then, actually you're going to want to leave these on, apologies. Just keep them like that, and then you're going to want to have this peg facing down, and then you can bring these down like that. So there you go. And you're going to take these front legs like that. Then you can get this main body section, bring this in, and the helmet section is already closed, so we're good with that. And then you can go back here, bring this little peg out and up. You can get this spike, peg it in like that. And then you're going to want to get one of the legs, and there is a peg, there is a port, that will just peg right into place, and that will just kind of set in this little ridge section right there. There's really no tab. I mean, there is sort of a ridge, there's really no tab, I would say, but it's pretty secure. So there is this main really battle sword weapon, whatever you can call it, but they're very, very cool. So now for the rest of these pieces, you're going to want to kind of get your nail loose in these little sections here. They're a little tight at first, so I would not, when you first get this, just trying to yank it out. Just wiggle it, just wiggle it out. You will leave this peg there. So then you can get these horns. These can go on either side. You can position them however you wish. But these just go on the bottom of the feet, just like that. And then you can get this other one, just peg that in there. And this will peg into the back of Huffer. So let's go get Huffer. So now we have Huffer, and we need to take all these weapons off of him because he's going to get a major upgrade. So I'm just going to show you it like the instructions show it. So this piece just goes on this side like that. There we go. And then you're going to want to go back here, and there is that port there. There is this peg, and that will just go in this back section right here. Sometimes it might collapse, unfortunately, but you just gotta get it into place. Sometimes it might be easier just to peg it in and then attach the rest of it. There we go. See? That worked. And then you can get the rest of these little spike pieces and just attach that on, collapse that over. And then he is very, very back heavy, but we can make him front heavy with this huge, huge sword. So you could have it really either way. There's some emptiness there. I'm going to have him like that. Again, very heavy, so he will definitely droop with it, unfortunately. And then you're supposed to get this Dino Head and have him hold it. It'll get pretty chunky pretty fast, but it can probably work. So you're just going to have that like that. So there he is, fully weaponized. So yeah, not the greatest, I would say. This is the exact same way, this is the exact same really form or mode that I did with Rocked, and I just wanted to really do it again, just to show you the color changes and just how it works. The joints are definitely a problem, especially this is really Huffer's fault, that his joints can't, you know, hold the weight, but also there's a lot of pieces on him, so I don't blame Huffer very much for the joint problems. I mean, he can hold this back section and all these pieces, really just the sword, but I think it looks pretty cool. Nice spikes, little armor piece on the shoulder, and a really, really cool Dino Head. You could add some blaster pieces in there, look like he's breathing fire, and I think that's pretty cool. So I think that's pretty much it for Tricranius. Overall, I think it's a really, really cool figure. I mean, this isn't the greatest, but honestly, I don't think I'll ever have this on my setup in this mode. I will most likely always have it in the robot mode or the beast mode. I think those two modes are amazing, amazing modes. Yes, it is a repaint. There is a slight change, of course, in the head sculpt of the dino, but I think it's amazing. Definitely go pick it up. I think it's an amazing figure. It is an exclusive, so I would, if you're on the fence about it, you know, decide soon, and just, if you're like, okay, I'm going to do it, then just go ahead and do it, because they don't restock Hasbro Pulse exclusives very, very fast, and they don't make very many of them. I think the 18 blaster pieces, or 19 blaster pieces, can't remember exactly what number it is, I think it's a little overkill. I know some people love them, and when Kingdom first started, everyone was thinking we should have a blaster piece pack where it came with a ton of them. And yes, the idea sounds good, just the concept, the actual concept of having that many, you know, or having them that many is not very realistic in my opinion, because I already have a ton, because I've gotten a lot of, or almost all of the War for Cybertron trilogy figures, so I do have a lot of them. But still, I guess it's nice to have on hand for some people who can't get as many as I can. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section below, and I think that's it, so I'll see you next time.